Hi, welcome to Classic Car Cave. So this is just a bit of a midweek update. I haven't done much on the Jaguar XK150 for some time, so I'm just going to give you a little update on where we are with it and why things are not progressing the way I would like it to. Obviously the car will not be commissioned on the road until till 25 or till early 25, sort of April-ish is when I hope to get it back on the road, or I hope to get it the turf done and all the paperwork done so I can actually drive the car. But I'll go over a few issues and a few problems that we need to fix up and sort out. Basically just one by one. Some of the equipment is in the UK being refurbished, and obviously with a car like this, it's a 1958, you have to go to specialists, and most of those specialists for British cars are obviously in the UK. So as I say, I'll take you around the car, show you some issues and some of the reasons we're not moving forward with it. And I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so one of the first issues is you'll be able to see that the wiring is sticking through this walnut dashboard here. And this is the fuel gauge. Now, unfortunately, the fuel gauge, I've had to send it back to the UK. So a friend of mine's taken it back to the UK, and you can get a refurbished one for £108, I believe it was, which he got just a replacement for it. So what they do is you take your old carcass, because with a lot of these things there's a surcharge on them, so we got that changed. The other issue is the wiper motor needed completely overhauling, and the wiring needed done. And on the XK150s they had a thermal cutout on them, and it was to stop the wiper motor from overheating. And this thermal cutout, from my understanding and a little bit of research in it, we're quite prone to breaking down, which they've now overcome, obviously, with a bit more modern equipment. And so the body of mine has gone to Coventry Auto Components in the UK, and they'll either refurbish it or build a new one, but it will be of that same era. But again, there's a surcharge on it. To have that motor rebuilt is £300. And I think if you don't have the body or the motor, I think it's around about £600. So it's quite a bit in surcharges. You'll notice that the door cars are still not on at the moment. There is a good reason for that. But you can see that the carpets are in now. So the main carpets are obviously beige, and I've gone, it might seem strange, but I've gone for these dark brown carpets, or over carpets, because obviously where you're going to have your feet is where it's going to get marked the most. So I had them made because it kind of goes with the walnut dash a little bit. Not that I'm ever going to show the car, but the beige I really like, because I like the colour of the Imperial Maroon against it. The seats, as you can see, look great, and that's why I went for that dark brown, so it doesn't show up so badly. So there's still quite a few things I've got to do. On the original cars it wasn't here, but what we're doing on this one here is we're going to put a little aluminium strip along here, which allows you to lift the carpet up, but it doesn't allow you to catch it as you put your leg inside. So I've got an aluminium strip which I'm going to put in there, and it just comes slightly above that carpet. So I'm going to do that both sides, which was not in the original cars. So that's another job that has to be done. You might be able to see here, if I pull the seat back, you can see there is no hood inside there at the moment. But we have had the hood on, and that's a job that's got to be done. But there's been a couple of issues with all the interior is beautiful. He's made a cracking job. This is from John Skinner in the UK, and the interior is absolutely gorgeous. Everything fits lovely. The only issue we've had is with this rear tonneau. Now, they don't normally come leather, they normally come as the same material, which is more like a canvas that the roof comes in. And as you can see, here's the roof here. But as you can see, that roof is quite a lot. If I can find a piece, I don't know if I can find a piece that I can put up against it. Yes, there's a piece here. So I'm going to show you this bit. This is a piece that goes onto the hood. But originally I had a canvas one made, or Jonathan, who now runs the business, John Skinner, in the UK upholstery. This is what it would have looked like, or that colour, and you can see against the seats it just doesn't look nice. So I asked him if he could make me one out of the same material as the seats, the leather seats, which he doesn't normally do. I mean, leather reacts differently from canvas and vinyl, but he made one up, and unfortunately, even though it fits beautifully from here, it's very, very taut to here. Where the issue is on the side here. Again, it comes down really nice, but it's just tight here. This is a little bit too tight on this corner. This should come down and more up. So what I'm going to do, I've spoken with Jonathan. He's kindly what I'm going to do is make some cardboard templates around here. I'll attach them, and then what he'll do is he'll redo this, remake it, and make them a bit wider here so that they fit around this corner. Because this is going to be on show 100% of the time, and if I take around this side, the gap's a little worse. Well, it's a lot worse. Again, it's beautiful down here, as you can see across the top of the car, but when it comes to here, it's too short. You can see here. So again, I'll make a cardboard template so we can get this so it fits right down into there perfectly. Now, when the hood comes up, I'll pull this forward a little bit so you can see. This retracts, and it is actually, it's loose, it's saggy, because this has to sit back when the roof comes up. And you can see we've got it done there. So what I'm going to ask him to alter is, I'm going to ask him to put another couple of mil in this, because there's the metal flange there. So I'm going to ask him to put maybe another 2 mil into this. But he can take this off, and then hopefully we can extend this, or he has to make a new one, and I'll just have to pay the difference. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be on show 100% of the time, so I want it really bob on, so it really looks right. But I think the colour of the seats, and that together look really well. And there we go. You can just see the cable sticking out. Originally, that's where the heater went in the newer cars. The heater went on that side there. In this one, the heater is actually down inside the car, a little Smith's round heater. And you can see with this car, it's got the triple HD8s on it. Now, this is an SE car, but the triple HD8s, and I think they were HD6s. But this has got the high flow head, and like an E-type high flow head, and the triple HD8s, and so it brings it into an S specification. It's got the twin pumps on it. Why they had twin pumps, I don't know, but I guess in them days they thought they needed that spare pump because they don't need to be in line with each other. But I guess they thought if one pump goes down, the electronics weren't particularly good and the points got jammed, you had a second pump. Now this is a 3.4 litre, so this is the same setup head-wise as an E-type, as that E-type is there. Except that's a 4.2. So yeah, this is so it's S specification as far as all those three pieces are concerned. The only difference is the compression ratio would have been higher on the S specification cars, but there was very few S's made. So they obviously command quite a bit of extra money, and that wasn't the reason I did it. I did it for the performance, and you can see obviously the S badge there that I've put on the side. But it's an SE car, and hopefully it will never be sold in my lifetime. But it is. If it is, it will go as it's an S specification, but it's not an S registered car, an S numbered car, put it that way. So there we are. There's a couple of little things I've done on this that are a bit different. You can see that cable strap there. Normally it would go down into that valley in the centre of the head there. So you've got inlet and exhaust, inlet this side, exhaust that side. And the only other difference is where we've put the prop. You can see the prop holder is right in the center there, and that stick, we made a special component for it to go onto the heads there. And the reason is when you put normally the hood stick here in the center normally goes up the side, and when you put it on, the bonnet kind of flips to one side, and it looks awful. It really makes the whole, even though the bonnets are aluminium on these, it makes the whole bonnet kind of slip over to one side. And strangely enough, it's the same situation with the boot. They had one on the boot. I'll show you what I mean. On the boot, they had one very large kind of rod to lift it up. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So here they had one rod on one side, and what I've done is I've used two smaller air rams, and it fits nice. So if I put that down, you can see it holds it up quite well up to a certain point. Still, I think it will get to just a bit lower than that, and it'll go down. Right. There you go. So there we are. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on why we're not moving forward with it, and that's the reason behind it. So there's still some bits and pieces I need for the car, but I'm coming to the UK in the middle of March to go to the Practical Classics car magazine, but it's the restorers or restoration show at the NEC. I believe it's the 21st of March, so I'm going to go there for that and pick up a load of stuff while I'm in the UK. So, and then hopefully by the time I get back we can get that all finished up, get the extra things we need, door pins, all kinds of stuff, and really get it finished up. So here we are. So just an update for you, and we are getting on with it. So as usual, stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby, and the next one up will be the second part of doing the making good the holes in the wings on the Mark III Mini. But I'll show some of the little techniques that you can use to make those things flush, and the way you can bridge it, and using copper as a heat sink on the back. More importantly, use the copper as a bridge tool, so that you can bridge the gaps easy if you've got small gaps in the welding. Anyway, that'll be next week sometime. So as usual, take care. Bye for now. Be good to each other.